It's round one of 2017 for Thundersport GB and race one for the A&R Racing Continental Pre-National 600 Sport and Freshman. This is the introduction class, if you like, for those that are entering Thundersport GB on 600s. The freshmen for absolute novices, and of course the vast majority of the field here are pretty new to racing. So the rookie class, if you like, of 600s, a packed grid as ever here at Thundersport GB. Last year's champion Lloyd Shelley has moved on into the Sportsman Elite 600 class, and of course Alex Lorries has done exactly the same. He was the freshman champion. In the background there, riders struggling to get away from the line. Yellow flags are up, but here we go then. As you can see from the camera lens, bit of rain that we've had here so far at Brands Hatch, but it's a partly dry circuit. The only problem is, with the vast majority of these riders being pretty new to it, this could be absolute carnage. You never know. At the front there is number 11 on the MSG Racing Suzuki, Will Harper. Good start for him as they now drop down the hill into Graham Hill Bend. A bit further back there, that's number 26, Kyle Chamley from Bradford, just trying to make some moves. But it's number 58 that's got through to the front. A good start then for Liam Warren on the South Links Leisure Triumph as they make their way up and around clearways to complete the first lap. You can just about see there how greasy and slippery it is here at Brands Hatch as they now come past the line to complete the first lap. It is Liam Warren that has this lead from Will Harper as they now tip into Paddock Hill Bend for the second time of asking, and that's the leader down, Liam Warren, and that's a big crash down at Paddock Hill Bend, and he may well be clutching his head in the gravel trap. Liam Warren there. Well, there's your first sign as to what the conditions are like here at Brands Hatch. It's cool, it's slippery, and Paddock Hill Bend there, you just wonder whether he was just carrying a bit too much speed. I hope he's all right. Liam Warren is down from the front then of this race, and that leaves number 11, Will Harper, out front. No, it doesn't. He's in second because number 47 is just up ahead of him. That's Zach Ultram on the Connect Racing machine. Just behind number 11 there is 119. That's Alan Brooks on the Brooks Boys Racing Honda. He's got that orange bib on. Steve Day here, Sid alongside me. Sid, nasty looking crash that.
Yeah, I think he might have just gone a bit wide and maybe nibbled hold of the rumble strip there, because it's, and as you know, that just does not dry like the tarmac, and it's still not fully dried up. It's been spots of rain here and there all day really, and so I think this is what we've got. The worst conditions you can have, really.
Great championship, the pre-national 600s. It's gone from strength to strength in the last couple of years, Sid. Obviously champions from this class. The good news is, because it's in effect a rookie championship, the champions always move on, so there's always an opportunity there for some new faces to get on the podium.
Well, somebody said to me the other day, in regards to world and British superbike racing, that 600s are dead. I can tell you right now that 600s are not dead at Thundersport GB. In fact, I can reveal that altogether we have 160 600s booked into Donington Park. This is a full grid with the overflow sitting on the back of the Golden Era Supersport grid.
Well, at the front of this one at the moment, it is number 47, Zach Ultram, that has the advantage from Will Harper. Alan Brooks is up there as well. Further back there, we see number 4. That is Charlie White from Southampton. Now, we're on board with Sam Mosley on the UWTSD. Blimey, that's a long-winded name for a team. Orthrus Racing Yamaha for short. As we now dip down
Make
to
sure you
Graham.
got your teeth in for that one.
Wow. At the front we go then. It is still number 47, Zach Ultram from Alan Brooks. Number 53 is up there as well, Jason Siggs on that Yamaha. You can just see him in the background having a bit of a ding-dong there with Paul McDonald on the Mac Racing Triumph. There he is, just up behind the number 53 as they fly into Paddock Hill Bend. You can see just parked up there in the background the bike of Liam Warren, who was the early race leader until he crashed at turn 1. Oh, a lot of corner speed there. Look at that, around the outside and almost out of the saddle there for Paul McDonald on the Triumph. He was carrying so much speed into Druids, that was unbelievable. Just coming through now, we see again number 26, that's Kyle Chamley. Kyle, at this moment in time, trying to get himself firmly in the points, back with Sam Mosley. Now, Sam is inside the top 10. So, good job from him at this moment in time.
Another one there, Steve. Just big wobble on the front end there as he turned into clearways.
Ever so easy to make mistakes in these conditions. So we see a couple of rookies there already about to get lapped. Number 47 coming through on them. And so we have...
Steve, there's a bit of rain.
Oh, just a bit. Look at that. The wind is blowing. The rain is falling. The marshals look like they might get blown away there. Lack of adhesion flag. That's an understatement if ever I've seen one. So this is going to be tricky now then.
Well, it's going to be tricky, Steve, because it was still damp and wet here and there. It was declared a wet race, so therefore it won't be stopped for climatic conditions.
Oh, problem there on the power for number 47. A bit too eager there as he grabbed a handful of throttle, and Zach Ultram has now dropped down to second. Alan Brooks isn't scared. He's gone straight through to the front. As ever, when it starts raining like this, Sid, you tend to find that there are some riders that are far more comfortable and confident in these conditions than others that are saying, hang on a minute, I ain't throwing this up the road. And look, there's already a bike or two pulling into pit lane. The wind really picking up here. It is Alan Brooks that has this lead. Bit more upright, obviously, because let's be honest, Sid, despite the fact that it was declared a wet race, I very much doubt there were many people that started this race with wet tyres.
No, and the ones who did have just won the pools. But there will be people, particularly people who, who've seen all this before, or just simply feel confident that it's the track temperature's cold enough, we're not going to burn up a set of wets, and they just think, do you know what? Rather than dump my bike, I'm going to go out there on wets. And then when this happens, and look, it's stopped raining now. Well, I don't know if it has, actually.
That's the problem. You see that on your visor, on your front screen, as Sam Mosley does here. He's obviously got lots of confidence. And you've got to make a decision. You should be able to know, within reason, just from the grip of the bike, what sort of speed to go at. But, of course, with motorcycle racing, often it's too late by the time you really find out how much front-end grip you've got. That's quite a bit of rain falling. Of course, track temperature wasn't exactly tropical already, and there you see a foot down there for Alan Brooks out in the front. He's the guinea pig, and this is probably not the greatest time to be a guinea pig.
So it doesn't look like Alan has got wets on, does it? Because it wouldn't be letting go like that.
None of the top 6 or 7 have, Sid. They're all on the driest option tyres that they can go for, and there's riders putting their arms up. I don't know why they're doing that. That was, I think, was that Paul McDonald in the background? This is declared a wet race, I'm afraid. You either put up and shut up and take the checkered flag.
Race director Dave Stewart has pulled a clever one here. Now, he's made sure that it's gone the distance, but he's just had the last lap flag pulled out early.
Well, that's not a bad idea at all, because, of course, these guys are relatively new to racing, and this would be pretty disastrous. It's really falling down now. Alan Brooks, at the moment, is leading this one, but it's starting to get to that stage now where, look, 80% of the riders are all on dry tyres, and it's a wet circuit. There's a bit of spray forming underneath the tyres there. There is your race leader, almost bolt upright, just slowly going up through the gears, and he's about to come around to take the checkered flag. He'll be delighted that he's hung on to this one. Checkered flag is out. Alan Brooks wins it in the most awful conditions, really, for any rider to face with dry tyres. But it's a win and 25 points there for Alan Brooks. I can tell you that in the background, Zach Ultram is going to take second place, number 47. And Paul McDonald ends up finishing in third place, 3/10 clear of Jason Siggs, with Will Harper in fifth and Stephen Kimmings in sixth place. Top 3 then in the pre-national sport. Alan Brooks, Zach Ultram and Paul McDonald. And in the freshman class further back, Pete Ritchie's the winner from Michael Coxon and AJ McDaniel. That's it for race 1. Fingers crossed we get a bit more dry action in race 2 in a moment.
Continental. Get the grip.
So the A&R Racing and Continental Pre-National Sport 600, if any flies land on the tyres of any riders with Continentals at the moment, they won't be sticking to them because it is cold here at Brands Hatch. And again, you can see most riders have gone for the dry tyres. Sprinklings of rains in race 1, but sprinklings of rains? That's not very good English, is it? But anyway, you know what I mean.
You went to a good school. It was approved, Steve.
We're ready for race 2. That's the most important thing, and the lights will go out. Alan Brooks won race 1. Who will reign supreme in race 2 as they head away now from the line and into turn 1? It looks like it's a good start for Zach Ultram, but was it a bit too much of a good start? We'll keep our eyes pinned in a moment. Up towards Druids we go. He leads it from Will Harper, number 11. He got off to a good start in race 1 as well. Race 1 winner, Alan Brooks there, is on that, I suppose you could almost call it a Paget colour scheme, look-alike the number 119 on that Honda. Quite bright. He's got an orange bib on as well, just for good measure. There's number 8, Tom Hill. I don't believe he's any relation to Tommy Hill, of course, the former British Superbike champion. And number 811 there is Liam Duffett from Guildford. He's not got far to travel home, and he's got a problem already. His arm is up in the air, and it's either that or I just called his name out in commentary, and he said, yeah, that's me. But no, that's the end of his race, unfortunately. He makes his way into pit lane, and we complete lap 1. We're getting towards the end of the day here at Brands Hatch. Not that you know that, of course. Look at that shot there. The sun now starting to set on Brands Hatch. Track temperatures are still very cool, Sid.
They are indeed. And in actual fact, as the sun begins to set, they literally fall off a cliff edge here at this time of year at Brands Hatch. But as we were cut short in the early race there, you know, this is a phenomenal class, and we're so pleased at the success rate of this. Just year after year after year, new people coming through, which just carries right the way through up the line, through all the classes. But it's still my favourite, you know, 600s. I just love the scream of 600 bikes.
We just saw quite an odd line being taken there from Zach Ultram, and it's allowed Will Harper through and into the lead. Zach Ultram went really wide into clearways and just managed to stay on circuit, so he's lost his lead. We also saw there that Alan Brooks and Paul McDonald still up there. Michael Coxon we saw as well, one of our British Army riders, number 28 with the orange bib on. He's had a good start. There's number 53 again as well. That's Jason Siggs, who had a reasonable ending to his first race. There's no sign in this second race of the crasher, of course, from race 1. So we send all our best to Liam Warren. That was a nasty crash into Paddock Hill Bend. Now then, Will Harper it is that leads then from Zach Ultram. This time around, will Zach Ultram take a better line into clearways? Yes, he does, and he's close up onto the tail of Will Harper.
Steve, very well spotted by your good self. It has just come up on the screen. 10-second penalty for number 47, Zach Ultram. Well spotted.
Well, it's always very difficult for the riders sometimes. Sometimes as a rider you know that you've made a jump start and you know what you've got to do. Other times it's marginal. So I just wonder whether he'll be informed of that, because of course if he is, then he's going to need to go and clear off out front and try and build up over a 10-second lead. At the moment he's still in second place, of course, Zach Ultram, who's just picked up that jump start penalty. So there'll be 10 seconds added to his time at the end of this race. As they exit Graham Hill Bend on the Cooper Straight, it is still Will Harper that has the advantage. They tip into Surtees, then flick right into clearways. Just off the brakes there.
We just need to bear that in mind. If he can get the lead, just to make sure everybody understands, he needs to beat Will Harper by more than 10 seconds to win this race now.
Interesting riding style there from Michael Coxon, number 28. He really leans the bike over and sort of has an upright position himself. A bit Mick Doohan-esque, I suppose you could say. He'll be hoping that he ends up as Mick Doohan. certainly, there he is, number 28, really gets that bike cranked over. In conditions like this, that's a little bit scary at times. But we'll see how he progresses throughout the rest of the season. So the top two have already come through. There's Paul McDonald. There is Michael Coxon. And they're just up ahead there of number 85, Neil Goodson, on the Unraceables Yamaha. Well, it looks raceable at the moment.
The sun is out. This is where it could get interesting, Steve, because when that current bun appears back in the sky, riders, for some reason, think that it's dry. Just wind back the throttle and think that there's grip. So yeah, anything could happen, I reckon.
Well, most of the circuit at the moment looks dry, but as we've already said, there's some damp patches. It's pretty cool out there. We're not going to see optimum lap times. Lap record in this class still belongs to Dean Mulcahy, actually, a 49.5. But in these conditions at the moment, the two boys out front are in the 52s. On board here with Samuel Mosley, as we were in race 1, just trying to get himself in the points at the moment. He's just outside. Now, in terms of our freshman riders, by the way, we saw earlier on in race 1, Pete Ritchie's winning the freshman class that is raced within this. Michael Coxon, who we saw battling for the top 5, is actually a freshman rider himself, a novice, so he is leading the freshman category at the moment from Stephen Thomas and Pete Ritchie's, who won in race 1. Now here we are, proper race this is for number 52, Samuel Mosley. He's enjoying himself down into Graham Hill Bend. Back with the leaders, still Will Harper on that MSG Racing Suzuki that has the advantage over number 47, Zach Ultram of Manchester, but we remind you, Zach Ultram has got a 10-second penalty. He'll be an eager beaver here to try and get past Will Harper.
Well, he certainly will if he knows, because obviously it depends on your pit board, or whether you know, as you mentioned, that if he knows that he's deep down in his heart, he definitely jumped the start. The trouble is, you've mentioned this before here at Brands Hatch, Steve, but it's awfully difficult to see your pit board because just the way you come out of Clark Curve, you know, you're not looking at the pit wall. So it sometimes even if you've got a pit board, takes a couple of laps before you realise that you've got that penalty, you know, even if you're being told.
Well, the thing is in a class like this with mainly novices, really, there aren't actually that many people on pit wall, full stop. So I'm not even sure if they've got pit boards. So maybe this will be just a whole new learning experience for Zach Ultram. I've seen him racing, of course, with us before, but I think riders tend to try and believe that they made the start in a perfect manner and that they just got away really well. But of course, there's enough people down there, our start line officials. There's of course quite a few people and officials down on that start line, and it's not that difficult to spot when somebody does actually make the jump start.
The trouble is when you do jump it, you know you've done it and you try and knock it off and then you pick up and go again. In actual fact, if you've jumped the start, you might as well keep going because you could do with all the help you can get to get rid of that 10-second penalty.
Yeah, although I should just point out, in case anybody says to themselves, well, I fancy that,
No.
that if you actually do jump the start really early and you don't even shut the throttle off and you know you've jumped it and you get a huge advantage out front, it is at the discretion of race control as to what penalty you get. Because I have seen Dave Stewart lump a 20-second penalty on someone before, and I remember who it was. I won't mention their name, but they didn't just jump the start, but I don't even think the red lights had gone on.
Oof.
As we see here now, this could be interesting as they come through traffic there. MSG Racing Suzuki rider. There, Will Harper. Oh, he's trying to get past his teammate. He gets it all wrong and he's lost a lot of time there.
That'll be the worst corner of his career, that will. That went wrong from beginning to end.
It did, and now he's got even more traffic to deal with as he goes past his teammate there. I don't think he's going to thank Chris Curtis there on the other MSG Racing Suzuki. He got it wrong. Now then, this has allowed Zach Ultram to come through the traffic. He's filtering his way through nicely. The last lap flag is out. I don't think he's got any chance here of doing it, but he's having a good go at it.
He's got a lot to do, hasn't he? If he could have sliced through those, though, you know, it might have just happened.
Up the inside of Liam Dale, and this isn't bad, considering Liam Dale is in 15th in this race. We started with well over 40 of these 600s.
This is the last lap, though, isn't it? So it's not going to happen, is it?
No, doesn't look like it is. As they come around the final corner, there is Will Harper. Now, does Will Harper know that he's actually going to inherit the win here himself? Who knows? Checkered flag is out, and it is a win for Will Harper. Now, on circuit, you just saw there Zach Ultram taking the checkered flag, but there was not enough there, nowhere near enough. He won it by 3 seconds, something like that, but Will Harper inherits the win from Zach Ultram, who did just about enough to hold on to second place ahead of Alan Brooks. Paul McDonald was 4th, Michael Coxon 5th, Neil Goodson in 6th place. So there you see Will Harper, Zach Ultram and Alan Brooks. And in the freshman class it was Michael Coxon, Stephen Thomas and Pete Ritchies. So on to the point standing. Zach Ultram, despite that jump start, does lead going into Donington Park. He's on 85 ahead of Alan Brooks. Will Harper, with that win, is in 3rd place, 2 ahead of Paul McDonald. And Neil Goodson follows. And in the freshman class, Michael Coxon, 90 out of 100 points. Stephen Thomas is in 2nd, ahead of our American rider, AJ McDaniel in 3rd. And Jonathan Pilling in 4th. That's it then from us here at Brands Hatch. Hope you enjoyed that and round 1. Round 2, well, we'll see you at Donington Park.